Hello friends, Namaste, Namaskar. You're watching Investors Time and this is your Sahavi Reddy. I'm sorry that I have taken a little time to actually make up the next video, and the truth is that for getting one good video, something like multi-bagger or a very good stock, I cannot make every day one stock or every week. I'm sorry that I have been held up by some other works like intraday trading as well. So that's the reason I've taken a bit of 3 weeks of time. Very sorry for that, but this time we'll be talking about a very good stock. But before that, a small disclaimer. You can go through this disclaimer, but you have to note that this channel has been a kind of my diary. Whenever I'm interested in some stock, I'm actually making one video on that. And if at all you want to actually buy this, make your own due diligence and don't forget to ask with your financial advisor. And chalo, this time we'll be talking about Balaji Amines. This is a pretty good stock for a start, and we'll do a KYC. We'll cover the con calls as well in this stock, and we will cover most of the things which we have to look in a particular stock before actually buying it. This stock has been pretty much good. You can see the 3 years growth rate. You talk about sales or OPM or EPS. This has been tremendously good. You can see the 3 years average is 12.52, while the 7 years sales growth has been just 9.26. Even the operating profit margins are like decade high. 10 years average is 18.7, while it is actually at 21.4. And EPS CAGR has gone down a bit because it was flat almost in 2018 and 19. This overall growth I am showing only till 2019 because the quarter 4 results have not come yet. But so far, the Buffett rule, it is actually marvelous. Coming to the balance sheet, the reserves, you can see it was just 82.7 crores in March 2010, and now you can see it is like almost 608 crores, which is actually very good. And there is a small hiccup here. You can see that the borrowings have actually increased from 94.6 to 228 in 2020. But that thing, you just hold up for a second. After maybe 5 minutes of the video, you'll be knowing why actually this has gone and why I'm actually making this video. When there is a growth hunger from the management side, I don't mind if there are some reserve borrowings in it. So we will see that in the later part. You can see the quarterly interest payments. If you see in the last 5 quarters, it has been constant at 3-4 crores, and even in from 2017, it has been paying just around 12 crores of interest payments. And from this also, the borrowings have increased, but the interest payments have not increased. So this says something that they might have gone for some expansion, but they have gone a little bit from internal accruals as well, which is a good part. So the returns of this company has been tremendous. It was about 15% in March 2015. From there, it has rose before about to 20%, and it has been maintaining that 20% since the last 4 years. This is also a pretty good one. For a small cap company which has about 1000 crores of market cap, look at the net cash flows here. This is marvelous. Like you see the operating activity cash flows, it is actually like above 80 in the last 4 years, and at least in the net cash flows it is staying positive in the last 2018 and 2019, which is a very good part of this. So what we are talking, we will see the market cap is about 1307 crores at 436 rupees. I seriously wanted this to come back to 350 levels where I want to take 25% of portfolio again, but it has not come down there. EPS, it is generating about 33.45, book value of 190 and face value of 2, which equates to a valuations of market cap per sales ratio is 1.42, which is fine up to 2.5 levels, and stock PE is about 12.05, while industry is also same. Price to book is 2.11, which is fair. PEG ratio is like it says that it is very undervalued stock. You see the growth rate of the company, then you divide PE by growth rate, and you will see that it is 0.43. A stock is usually considered as very expensive when the PEG ratio is about 2.5 or more. So usually PE, when a stock is actually continuously rising and it's in a bull market, you will not actually know pretty much anything from PE ratio. So whenever the stocks such these are actually rising continuously because of the growth that is happening in the behind the scenes, you have to actually see the PEG ratio just to see if it is an undervalued stock or an overvalued stock. Coming to the promoter holding, this is not pretty good, just 53% from the promoter sides, the rest 40% is lying with us, the retailers, which is fine for me, I don't mind. NBFCs are nil because it's a small cap company. They have their own limitations that they can't come into any company just like that. So the pledging, they haven't done anything. Even after taking so much of expansion plans, They have not placed any share, and dividend yield is 0.69, doesn't matter. Debt to equity is 0.2, virtually debt free company with a current ratio of 1.71, and interest coverage ratio is pretty good for this company at 12.77. So you have to keep this in mind. About the debt part, besides not having any debt, it also has a good interest coverage ratio of 12, and also it has a positive net cash flows about 10 crores, which is fine for a 1,000 crore market cap company. ROCE is very high at 28.60, ROI is 22.21, and return on assets as 16.4. This is beautiful. Even returns are pretty much good about the company. This speaks very much high. The debt scenario and the return parts, this actually speaks very much about the management, how it is actually doing. Now we'll talk about what it actually does. It is one of the leading manufacturers of specialty chemicals. It started with methyl amines, but pretty much, it is into aliphatic amines. So what it does, the aliphatic amines itself, it has about a industry of 4.1 billion. This is very much small. Like, the global chemical industry is about $4,100 billion. So it is just 0.1%. And obviously China is the largest consumer and also producer, and it is contributing about 60%, while the top 6 companies actually control around 50% of the global capacities. In this, one of the companies BASF, and I forgot the other company. And globally, the 61% of these aliphatic amines are actually consumed in pharmaceutical sector. 26% gets into agrochemical space. So besides remembering that this is a specialty chemical manufacturing company, you also have to remember the agrochemical space and the pharmaceutical. So as long as this pharma API space and agrochemicals keep on growing, this company has actually a bright future. And the key raw materials for this one is ammonia, methanol, and denatured ethyl alcohol. Ethyl alcohol is usually catered from the sugar companies, and methanol is actually transported from Middle East companies, mainly Saudi. And speaking about the Indian amine manufacturers, 45 to 55% of whatever is being manufactured, that will be exported to mainly to Europe, and the other major contributions come from USA and Japan. 51% of the contribution is from pharma, and 26% is from agrochem space, and they have huge clientele for amines, amine derivatives, and specialties. So these are the list. So the second thing is that these chemicals, these are not actually easily sourced through imports. Why? Because this is very hazardous, it has high shipping costs, and even it needs specialized vehicles so that it can be transported into long distances. For that reason, even methyl amine, only 5% of methyl amine is actually being catered through imports. And this is actually a con also as well, because whenever I see into a company, and if it is actually trying to grow, if it is going for a brownfield or a greenfield expansion, I also want to know how much of that product is being imported by the India. If at all you remember the Deepak Nitrite, which we actually made a video about like one and a half year back, we have learned something about the phenol industry, which it's being expanded into phenol industry, and how it is going to meet the entire demand of the India. Before, almost everything was being imported, but now it is actually taking over the 90% of India's demand. The same thing, like now methylamine doesn't have much because they are going through all the local manufacturers. So this is not the part which I actually like. But the second part, that is what has intrigued me, and that is what why we have to actually take this company. If you have a view for 2 years, stick to this company. Believe me, it has great potential. So it has undertaken 90-acre greenfield project. In the phase 1 of this greenfield project, the company will install capacity of about 16,500 tons of ethyl amine. So ethyl amine, you have to remember this, and 9,900 tons of DMC. Post the commencement, the company will have the largest installed capacity of ethyl amine in India at about 22,500 metric ton per annum. Capex is about 200 crores, wherein 80 crores is through internal accruals, and it takes about 15 months. They said that they have already started. Actually, they said before that they will start in the Q2 FY20, and they have already started. So it takes about 15 months. In the first year, they will be generating about 300 to 350 crores of revenue from this just 200 capex. And after 2 years, they will be able to generate about 400 crores from ethyl amine industry. So through its subsidiary, which is BSCPL, it has also done one more capex, which is 240 crores, out of which 120 crores has been through internal accruals. And the best part of these two greenfield expansions is that the combined expected revenue after two and a half years is about 700 crore per annum. So whatever revenue is being generated now, you can actually add up like 700 crores after 2 years, and you can make your own calculation based on the simple factor which is PE, and you yourself will know the valuation of this company. And there are some key takeaways from con calls which you can actually pause and can go through, but I'm more interested in the last thing, which is the BSEPL. It's actually catering to three major products, which is EDA, PIP, and also data. And coming to EDA, Balaji Amines is the only company in India manufacturing this EDA. So you can understand what it is actually looking. It is focusing into a niche products which are not being manufactured in this India. If at all you see the table, these are the products which actually this company manufactures. And in the middle, you can see the installed capacities, which is about 1,84,500. But after the expansions, you can see the future capacity is almost 41,900, which is almost like 20% of increment in the revenues itself. So the right side, we have BSEPL, Balaji Specialty Chemicals, which they have started EDA, PIP and DEA, which will be almost 45,330 crores. And why I'm interested in specialty chemicals? Because of this. The first point, it has received REACH certification, which says that, Europe, which is almost the major contributor for exports for the Indian manufacturers, they have given a REACH certification so that this TEA, GBL, NEP and NMP can be actually exported to the European markets, which is actually a good factor for this company. So I want to speak a little about the imports of India. India used to import about 29,000 tons of EDA, while this has a capacity of 37,350. So they also have some scope for some more exports as well. And this is a global player in EDA. And PIP, they used to almost import about 7,000 to 8,000 tons, while we have a capacity of 4,050. And data, they used to almost 3,000 to 4,000 tons of imports, while the DEA has almost 3,150 capacity, which means almost 90 to 95% will be met by the local company itself, and the imports will be shut completely. This is the good part, and this is the reason, I have seen that this is going under major expansion. And if I had knew the stock, about 1-2 months back, or in March, trust me, I would have squared off entire portfolio and I would have taken only this stock. That is how much I'm believing in this stock. And right now it is actually costly, but if at all it comes to 350, I'm ready to square off some of the stock and actually pick this one. Speaking about the efficiency, this speaks what is the demand for the product. The data days, it's actually beautiful. You can see from 2018. You can see from almost 2015, they have actually given for credit, but later on the product has picked up some demand and the debtor days have fallen from 73.5 to 64. Inventory turnover has also increased from 6.6 to 7.6 in 2020. Quarterly growth margins, they are flat in terms of quarterly. OPM are about 19.6 in the last 2 quarters, and NPM is about 12.5 to 15.1%. One bad factor for this company is that the yearly growth margins for some particular reason are actually falling, and I have not seen in any con call, no one has actually asked about this margins, why they are falling. So I really don't know what is the reason behind this, but you can see the operating profit margins and net profit margins have been considerably reducing, and now it is about 18.9, 19% as a trailing. Yearly sales, they have been beautiful. They have increased in 2018 from 665 to 858, and now we will be adding some more, like maybe 700 crores in next 2 years. So in trailing, we have about 918 crores, which will be actually almost flat compared to the 2019. Coming to the yearly profit, first thing, the other income contribution is small. Whatever income, the profit which we are actually seeing in this is majorly from its core portfolio. So the net profit in March 2019 is about 118 crores, which is actually pretty much flat compared with the 2018, but there will be a little hiccup. There will be a 10 crores fall in the trailing one. We are actually awaiting for the Q4 results. And coming to the quarterly consolidated EPS, it has been pretty much flat compared with the last 5 quarters, but if you see the 9 monthly comparison, it has grown by almost 10.2%. But standalone EPS, it has actually fallen. So this even clearly says that the consolidated, which means this coming from the specialty chemicals, they have higher margins, while the core portfolio doesn't have good margins, and that's the reason you can see the EPS has fallen down by 12.8% in this particular year. So we can say from EDA, PIP, if at all the revenues keep on increasing, then the profit potential of this company will also start to increase, and you can see some expansion in the margins as well. And coming to the yearly EPS, it has, consider that it is actually flat. If you see the average of the last 3 years, it is almost 34 to 35. So in 2019 it generated about 36, while in trailing it is 33.5. Before wrapping up the video from the fundamentals part, we will also see what is the technical speaking about. We can see from the daily chart that here in almost May, there was like huge opportunity to actually pick this stock. It was available at 350 rupees, but I have come across this stock just 2 weeks back. Then I was actually concentrating on buying at these particular levels, so I didn't actually make a video at that particular time. Now it has actually bounced up. It has given almost 8% to 10% profit already, but I hope just for my viewers and for my friends, I hope that it will come at least to some 420, 400 levels, and then it will actually start the initial momentum. So far in the daily candles, it is actually daily chart, it is actually looking fine for me. The RSI is staying above 50, 55, and the volumes are pretty high. You can see some good volumes with good wide range candles, which says that there are some big hands which are actually pushing the stock. So you at least know for sure that the stop loss is almost 386. So keeping a 10% risk, you can anywhere pick from 385 to almost 420. You can pick it at any price. This stock has actually a high resistance about 480. So even now it has about 10% potential. So since it has almost a big resistance here that you can see for the 3 times the resistance has been hit at 480 levels. What I want to see along with the daily chart is I want to look into weekly chart. See, the weekly chart says at least the last week it has shown a very high strength with good enough volumes and even MACDs at the top. Don't consider this as a lagging indicator. I don't consider the crossovers of MACD. From the day one I have been used to this MACD. That's the reason I follow it. So even the RSI is staying actually strong. So I think this stock can be picked. Same, even the weekly chart actually shows this. If you draw a line here, you can see the same line has been a resistance here, then it formed a support here, then the price was actually lingering around this price. So you can for sure consider that 380, which we spoke in the daily chart, this also says that here also it will act as a strong support. So 380, keep it a stop loss 10% below it, like 350, 340. If at all it comes to almost 360, buy more, because you can see huge rejections here. You can buy actually more. And this is actually a demand zone for this stock. What, from 320 to almost 380, this is a very pretty strong demand zone. But if it comes to 360, you can actually buy more. I don't think the stock will actually go below this. So if at all the stock actually makes the super trend will actually break out here, then in the weekly chart there will always be a retracement up to at least 38% unless there is a news flow. So if at all there is a weekly retracement to almost 23% or 38%, come back again into the stock. Keep on holding the stock for a while. If at all you want to book profits, like if at all it increases 10% or 20%, what I usually do is that 50% of my portfolio, I'll just wrap it up. I know that any stock has to retrace. So when it retraces back a little bit, then again I'll get into the stock. So I don't have any target for this for simple reason. The revenues we are actually forecasting for the next 2 years. So I cannot actually have a price target. This is an open target price. So keep your target open, keep trailing your stop loss, and then hold this stock for as long as possible. If at all you are interested, you can actually book profits if at all you know technical analysis. But for now, this is all about Balaji Amines. And you have already seen my charts Excel sheet. If at all you want this for yourself so that you can look into this your own companies, you can actually ping me. I have a Telegram channel. You ping me there. It comes for a little cost like 900 rupees, but I'll be happy to provide you so that you can search for your own stocks. And because that was designed by myself, I take the balance sheet numbers from screener.in, and then all these magical things happen from the Excel sheet. Why? Because the table format, it's very confusing. It is not eye candy. For that reason, I have slowly developed. It has taken little efforts for me, and you are actually paying the price of my efforts only. And if at all you like this video, please hit the like button and don't forget to share with your friends. If at all you have not subscribed yet, please do subscribe. Thank you. It will be a great appreciation. Happy investing. Stay healthy.